Hey everyone, welcome to another Anime Kingdom review. See my title below? Yes, this is on episode 2 of Fate Apocrypha. And honestly, I was actually quite surprised that they decided to introduce practically almost every single one of the servants in one episode. Considering I think there was like one or two servants that were not introduced from the Black Faction. That's still like 13 or 14 characters being introduced in one episode. If someone were to tell me that before I watched the episode, I would be like, oh, this episode is probably going to be super rushed and everything's going to be super condensed, because that's not enough time to introduce all the characters. But overall, they did a pretty good job at introducing all the characters, kind of giving us a brief rundown of every single one of the characters, and it'll probably be talking more about their stories, their history of who they are and everything in the future episodes. So overall, I thought, like, when I first thought of it, like, if someone were to tell me that, I would be like, that's crazy. But when you actually watch the episode, they did a pretty good job at kind of measuring how much to say while still doing, giving it enough that it's super cool as well. And when you have these kind of introductionary episodes, I know a lot of people probably, don't really care too much sometimes for the introductionary episodes. Sometimes the story is really interesting where you love it, but a lot of the times introductionary episodes are kind of boring because it's just introducing characters, introducing where the world is and everything, and sometimes it's not that exciting. But with the Fate universe, I am always excited for the fact that one of my favorite subjects is history. Honestly, I love history. That's why I love, when I play video games, something like Assassin's Creed. That's a great kind of way to show example for Fate, is that Assassin's Creed, they have assassins and they throw them into like these real historical events in the real world and everything. But of course, obviously the assassins are not real. The same thing with the Fate universe, in the way that instead of having assassins or something, it's actually taking these real life historical figures, whether they'll be from real life people or they're from like myths or legends, and putting them into, of course, the Fate universe story. And I just honestly think that is so cool, especially considering sometimes they do change it up a bit. For example, in this episode, Mordred is supposed to be a man. Obviously, Mordred, if you didn't know, is the bastard son of King Arthur, who also betrays King Arthur later on in the future as well in that timeline. And pretty much what I thought was cool is, if you've already watched Fate Stay Night and watched Fate Zero, you know who King Arthur is, and you know that King Arthur is actually a woman as well. So I thought it was pretty damn cool that they kind of changed it up for Mordred as well, because it doesn't necessarily mean that Mordred has to be a woman as too. So I just thought it was something cool that they added in there. And it's cool too as well, because we've already, if you've seen Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have. That's why you're watching Fate Apocrypha. But we already been introduced to Saber. Been introduced to King Arturia, and we know how she is and everything. And it's just interesting to hear someone talk about her from like a really just bad point of view, like how literally Mordred hates her and everything, But the way we pretty much saw her in the story, you don't really, well, I mean, there are sometimes you probably get irritated by, her ideals and all that kind of stuff, which is why I thought it was pretty interesting for our characters, Cisco, I don't know if I think that's what his name was, and along with Mordred, their kind of ideals don't clash like they did in Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. The main characters and the servants, their ideals and everything, their mentality of how they think certain things should be done, really clashed a lot, and that's why it didn't make for a great partnership until later on. But this one, it's kind of straight from the start. You got, obviously, it works great. They both think alike, they both think the same way, and they both obviously already trusting each other from the very beginning, as we see them fighting at the very end, which honestly, that part was pretty damn awesome. I was wondering, like I said before, the first parts of the first episode, we had some action. I thought it was pretty cool, but I wanted to see more action to see how it would be in terms of comparison to how Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works Fate Zero was with Ufotable. But actually, the action was pretty damn cool. I did enjoy the OST, was awesome as well. It really complimented the battle scene, and honestly, I gotta say, I'm super excited to see more action. Just seeing Mordred and Cisco fight against those homunculus and of course those golems were pretty damn awesome. But what I want to see, of course, and what you probably want to see, is a servant versus servant battle. So I can't wait to see when that really does show, when that really does happen. But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this episode. The ending action was just literally on point. That's why I started talking about it before I even, the main thing I started talking about at the beginning of this episode review was pretty much about the introductions and everything. And then all of a sudden it got to me skipping straight to the end, talking about the crazy action, the OST really complimenting it. Because honestly, it was a pretty good scene to end the entire episode. And it definitely has me excited to see how the rest of the action does go on, forward and everything. But let's start talking about how I felt about the rest of the episode before I started talking about, I already started talking about that, but let's get on to how I felt about the introductions and everything, because that is honestly, in my opinion, a huge part of this episode, considering it introduced practically almost all of the servants. So pretty much the first servant we are introduced to is the ruler class. That is, of course, a lot of us already know the story of Joan of Arc, and honestly, it was super depressing to see that straight up at the beginning. Most of us know it is a tragic ending of what happens to her, but still, to see that is just like, oh man, that's really just effed up, honestly. But overall, I actually really am interested in seeing the rest of her story, how she will be, considering she does play a really big pivotal role in the story, considering her class is ruler, the ruler class, which is not a normal, servant class. Usually it's, of course, berserker, archer, saber, rider, caster, lancer, and what am I missing? Assassin. I almost forgot about assassin. But yeah, those are the normal 7 classes. But of course, considering this is not a regular Holy Grail war where it's normally just 7, servants, it's actually 7 versus 7. So they need to bring in the ruler class, which is usually brought in to pretty much bring balance to the battle and everything. And that is why we are here with Joan of Arc. And it's pretty interesting because we see her being brought into this world. I'm not too sure how it works either, because normally with the servants, they are pretty much summoned by a mage and everything. But I'm not too sure where her mage is. We do see in the opening and everything, and we saw before, that she is with this one guy who I'm not too sure who the person is yet. But that person is also going to be a main character as well. So it should be interesting to see how that goes on. But that was pretty much only the beginning. The rest, of course, was showing of a lot of the episodes showing of the Red Faction and some of the Black Faction. The Red Faction being introduced was, of course, I think it's Astolfo. I think that's the name. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's so cute. Oh, she's so funny. She's so adorable. Well, you can think that person's adorable. You can think that person's cute. But I just want to say this straight up. That's a trap. Don't fall for the trap. Unless you like the traps, then okay, whatever, that's fine. But that's a trap. Astolfo is a guy, not a girl. Trust me, I was surprised at first as well. But yes, Astolfo is a guy. An adorable guy but a guy nonetheless. So just before you start wondering, start like full on me like, Astolfo is so cute. That's the waifu right there. No, that's not the waifu. Yeah, that's just not. That's a guy. Sorry, Sorry to get anyone who's like full on like on Astolfo. Yeah, if you're still on, still love Astolfo, hey, there's not a problem with that. But I at least want to warn people that is indeed a trap. But yeah, after her introduction, it pretty much had the rest of the, the Red Faction servants. We had Chiron, to actually, I actually do know him, pretty much because I played Smite, and they have a whole bunch of gods, Chiron being a Greek god. And at first I was like, that's not Chiron. Chiron's supposed to be a centaur. But of course later on we do see that he pretty much is hiding it so people don't know. So that makes sense. And then of course there's also Berserker, who ends up being Frankenstein. And honestly, I was surprised. I was actually surprised that Berserker, Frankenstein, or Fran as they're calling her, is just adorable. When she was pouting and call me Berserker, I was like, wow, okay, she is super cute. What the hell? And it's so strange because, considering most of the time with Berserkers, they're really kind of out of their mind, honestly. Most of they just like full on just rage, trying to kill everyone. They don't really have like a conscience, I guess you would say, in the way that this Frankenstein does in this episode. She's like full on telling him, she was mad because, of course, he told them her name. She wants him to call her Berserker. She was pouting at moments, and honestly, it was super cute. And when he's like telling her what to do, she's like, I'm just like over here like, what the hell? What the hell? Especially from the Berserkers we see in like Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. They're like out of their mind, crazy, attacking everything. I mean, in this damn one as well, the Black Faction, they have Spartacus. Holy shit, honestly. If I was that hunter when he came around from behind him, I would have literally just crapped my pants right there and just been like, okay, you know what? I didn't see that. I don't know what the hell just passed me, but I'm just going to go home now. I have crap in my pants. What the heck? Because seriously, he's just hunting at first. All of a sudden, it's like the ground shakes and stuff, and he's like, damn it, what the hell? He turns around and sees that. He's gigantic. Holy shit. I would literally just be like, yeah, kill me now or something. Get me away from this thing. Shoot myself in the face. Luckily, of course, he just ran past him, but the look that Spartacus had, that was just a deranged look, and I would be like, nope. Please, no, that is scary. Get that out of here, honestly, But after that, it showed the Saber, which is Siegfried, I think that's how you say his name. I don't really know much about him in history. I know that from what they said and everything, he killed a dragon. And, of course, we saw him at the very opening fighting Mordred. So that's going to be some pretty big, huge Saber versus Saber fight we'll see later on. But his master, I swear, that guy is so irritating right now. He's going to get killed. And when he does get killed, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to have this huge smirk. I'm going to be like, yeah, thank goodness. That guy is just an irritating ass, honestly. And then, of course, there's Vlad the Impaler. He looks pretty badass, and everyone's pretty much saying that he's super strong. So I can't wait to see him fight. And then, of course, we also have Jack the Ripper, to which I didn't know Jack the Ripper was a cute little lolly, but yeah, she was honestly pretty scary as well. Like, we're gonna have some creepy moments with her, but I mean, it's like, oh, she's cute, and then oh, mom, I'm still hungry or something. Oh yeah, that couldn't feel you, but she's got blood all over her. They show like a person, I guess they killed. Of course, I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know who Jack the Ripper is. So it's pretty crazy to find out Jack the Ripper in this is a little girl. But honestly, I can't wait to see more of her as well, because it's actually pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. But then after that, it's pretty much just the introduction of the rest of the, some, not all of them, but some of the Black Faction, which is, of course, Mordred, who we've already seen before, Assassin, I forget what her name was. I'm not too sure who she is either. I looked it up and it was something about being a mermaid. I'm not really sure on who that is. It should be interesting, maybe. I mean, she's pretty hot, but obviously there's something going on with her and that priest guy. Kotomine, by the way, is he related to Kide Kotomine from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night, or is it just someone with the same name? Because when I heard Kotomine, I was like, what the hell? I remember they did say that his family's been in the church the whole time for a long time, so I'm guessing, is that some type of relative, like an older relative or something like that? I'm not too sure, but if you do know, feel free to comment below on that. Unless it's a huge spoiler, then obviously I don't want spoilers, But after that, there's something going on with them, something they have planned, and obviously that's why Cisco and Mordred was kind of like, nope, we're just gonna go on our own. You can do your own thing. And then later on, of course, they're talking to each other like they don't trust them, as obviously. And then, of course, they also show Shakespeare, which is pretty damn crazy. I did not expect to see Shakespeare as a caster. I remember I did see that in Fate Grand Order, so it wasn't as surprising. But it's pretty funny to see that he's actually in here. And I'm over here, like, wondering, like, what is his spells gonna be, Is it gonna be, like, something to do with all, the works that he's written before or something? It'll be interesting to see how that works as well. And then, of course, after that, it was also some guy named, like, Karna or something at the very end that he's sending after the priest guy. Kotomine is sending after to attack ruler Joan of Arc. So I'm not too sure on who the hell that guy is, what class he is either, because they don't really mention it. But honestly, so far the Black Faction kind of seem a little bit more scarier and deranged. Except even Mordred as well, as in her own way, obviously. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how a lot of the people on the Red Faction side, to which you think that's the bad guys, honestly, have more, except for some of them, are actually like seem more like heroes, while the other side kind of seem like deranged monsters. Sure, Spartacus, obviously you know him, he's a gladiator. I'm pretty sure you've seen the show maybe or the movie or anything of him, or just known his story before. But like I don't know, everyone else on the Black faction just give me this kind of vibe that like, oh my gosh, they're gonna kill everyone or something. And I thought they were supposed to be the good guys, so it should definitely be interesting to see how everything goes. Honestly, overall, like I said, I really did enjoy this episode. It was a really good episode to introduce all the characters, to which I was honestly getting giddy, pretty much learning all about who the hell these guys were and everything. So overall, that's all I really gotta say. I can't wait to see how the next episode will be, see what's gonna happen next. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. So please enjoy this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy it, feel like, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Good, bad, how did you feel about this episode? What do you think about what's gonna happen in the next episode? And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Until next time, see ya.